I say it every week, but it deserves repeating. The break between races of a doubleheader Saturday night is the perfect blend of the post-race high and the pre-race jitters. And that's where we find ourselves once again right here, right now, streaming cyberspace into your place from Hickory Motor Speedway. It's the Virtual Grip Network's penultimate round coverage of the Bootleg Racing League's Late Model Invitational Series, Season 28. Let's talk a bit about Kurt Smith. Well, he's fifth all-time in career late model starts with 212. And while his win total is a little slim with only 4, Smith finishes a quarter of his starts inside the top 5. Over 28 seasons, only 8 drivers have been able to call themselves late model Invitational Series champions. With tonight and one more race to follow, Smith has positioned himself to become the 9th, joining John Wilson, Joe Snyder, Jeffrey Harden, and Donnie Moore as active drivers with crowns. If past performance means anything, then the news is good for Smith because he has won at Hickory before, while nobody with a legitimate chance to catch Smith has. A second place at Kern made Smith the 5th different leader this season. His acquisitions of the lead was the 8th time the points lead has changed hands this season. Mike Holloway is the only driver to hold the points lead for consecutive races when he was able to do so in rounds 4 and 5. During his podium interview after the race, Smith said that his 2 goals were to win the championship and win a race. With 8-point advantage on the field, Smith is in good position to achieve the first goal, and his previous success here might help him with the second. Can Smith do it? To find out, pull the lever on the lazy boy and settle in for some simulated short track racing action about to stream your way. Hey, beneath a darkening North Carolina blue sky, a warm hello and welcome on this Saturday night, December 7th, 2024. It's going to be Ricky Hardman-Wall Harden joining yours truly, Bill Stoops on. High up in the VGN broadcast booth, bringing you our Words Eye View replay Ryan Senator. What he does, sliding the sliders and dialing the dial. All right, Ricky, you just raced the modified event, but now we're out here, a little heavier cars, a little less rubber. How's it feel out there?
Well, I'll tell you what, these cars are suited for this track. Late model stock action feels right at Hickory Motor Speedway. This is the birthplace of the NASCAR stars and the most famous short track in the world. This is a bumpy surface. It's very dynamic. When you have the late model stocks out there, it's pretty tough to handle them. They want to get all over the track. They want to get tail happy, and they want to bounce around quite a bit. The modifieds are a lot smoother feeling. You don't really have as much opportunity to get the car upset in the modifieds as you do in the late model stock. So in this race, I believe we're going to have guys really struggling to get the power down after a long green flag run. And tire wear is going to be very important. It looks like the right front wants to wear out early, and that's going to make these cars push, and it's going to make them really hard to handle as they get late into the race.
We have half a handful of drivers making their series debut, so maybe we have some new fans joining them as well. Just to go over some of the basics, 100 laps on tap tonight. That's the usual distance. The rules are pretty simple. You got to finish on the same rubber you start with, and it's big boy racing. You break it, you bought it. No fast repairs. Let's take a quick look at the points. You know, no drivers made season debuts last round, so the number of drivers who have raced at least once this season holds at 28. That's going to go up to Baskin-Robbins 31 next week, as we have actually 32, as we have 4 drivers making their season debut, 3 of them making their series debut tonight. Kurt Smith is coming off a second runner-up of the season. He's hunting his first win. Double Deuce Bruce Pearson hunting his first win as well. Todd Liston, Mike Holloway, and Joe Snyder all have wins this season, but Ribeye has a championship, as does the Canadian Goose, John Wilson. He is our defending champion. 2-time crown goes to old-time Donnie Moore. Now, here's an interesting stat. Joe Segal, along with Bruce Pearson, are the only 2 drivers to have raced in every late model Hickory event. You know, a current 19th was Chris Hazlett's worst result of the season. The Lipper drops 2 spots as a result. Hey, here's a trivia question for you. Where does 3 wins, 1 no-show, and 4 double digits finish find you in the point standings? Well, raising his hand right now to answer that one is Jeffrey Harden. He says, Soup, I'm in 10th. So there you have it. Boy, 3 wins put you in 10th. All right. With that said, we're going to talk about our over-under driver. We really haven't thought much about it, but it's going to be a surprise here. It's going to be welcome back to the series, James Lowe. Ricky, they're going to put him right dead center here. We have 23 drivers. They're marking it at 11.5. Bet the under if you think he'll do 11th or better, over 12th or worse.
Well, I'll tell you, this is a deep field with a lot of cars, so I'm just going to take the over as, a lot can happen in the big field at a little track.
There you go. And he'll be starting from the back as this is making his season debut. All right, with that said, we have a large field and a short track, so let's go ahead and run down your starting order tonight. Remember, the top 15 are inverted based on last week's result. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but looking to make it 2 in a row tonight is, the double nickel of Steven Spieth is going to be inside of the Caveman Trey Blue.
A lot of strong cars up front. Jeffrey Harden in the 36 on the inside of the second row with Mark Herzog in the 57 on the outside.
And Rouge, Joe Snyder in fifth is flanked by Aiden Young.
The double deuce of Bruce Pearson. He's going to start in 7th spot with the 70. Ruben Altiz to his outside.
Rookie champion, the Canadian Goose, John Wilson in 9th, inside of a man who's fast, Scott Negus.
That's an all-Canadian row. Adam Shane in the 79 will roll off 11th with Kurt Smith, series point leader, in 12th.
In the Baker's dozen spot, it's Joe Segala showing 14th, but he has an end-of-line penalty. Boy, hard to have an end-of-line penalty here tonight. It's card listed.
Chris Hazlip's going to roll off 15th, although he's going to start from pit lane, it looks like, tonight, so he's going to be well off the pace at the start. Tom Hilbert's going to start 16th.
Low Jewel, John Hine, James Lowe. Are the rest of the field? We'll get the rest of them later. Go ahead, Ricky.
The green flag is out. Steven Spieth is on the loud pedal, and he's quickly to the lead in front of Trey Bloom. Trey Bloom tucks into second. The battle is for third. Mark Herzog on the outside. You can get a good run off the outside of these corners if you angle it just right, and he does. He gets the advantage down the back straightaway over Jeffrey Harden, and now Herzog tries to look to the outside of the 32 machine going down to the turn 1.
Drivers in the back we didn't mention. Edward Foster, the Aussie driver. Todd Cousins, a new time. Tim Corder is here as well, and Steve Hilbert in the 23rd spot. Ricky?
Man, we got to get better at getting through these fields quickly when there's this many cars.
I know.
They figure it out up front, and you see they're all single file within the top 5. First battle for positions at 69 of Aiden Young. He's looking to the outside of the Butcher of Baton Rouge. That's the 39 car of Joseph Snyder. He gets to the outside of Snyder, and they'll be 2 by 2 as he tries to drag Ruben Altiz along with him.
I give out a little yo there as I saw Mark Herzog get the car sideways, but he gathers it up quickly. Ricky, help me out a little bit. Are these a little easier to catch than what we just saw in the modifieds?
Yeah, I always think these cars are a little easier. They're a little bit more forgiving. You have a little bit more play, I guess, in the way that these cars drive and the way the suspension is on them. But they're a little, they're not as planted at all. So, like I say, the margin of error is a little bit wider on these cars. They're not as much of a razor's edge.
The top line seems to be working. I just saw Aiden Young roll around the double deuce of Bruce Pearson. Let's look at this. Pearson and Ruben Altiz side by side. Altiz in that patriotic stars and stripes. Well, there's no real stripes on it, but a lot of stars out there in the number 70 side by side with the double deuce.
Yeah, the outside lane does roll really well here. It's actually really hard to hold the bottom without feeling like you're working your tires really hard when you're side by side. You get great runs off the outside. You see Altiz do that. He clears the double deuce of Bruce Pearson, and now he's looking to the outside of Aiden Young going through turns 3 and 4. Not going to be able to make it happen. There's the point leader, number 6 machine of Kurt Smith. Look at him side by side there with the 81. Kingpin Joe Segala trying to make something happen. He had to come from pretty deep in the field tonight.
Smith out there. Boy, if you're trying to secure yourself a championship, the last thing you want is a giant field like this, because it makes a disaster all the more painful. Smith in that battle with Segala, both those guys veteran. I think they both give themselves a lot of confidence. They're going to stay off each other. Just ahead of them, though, is the Canadian Goose, John Wilson. Boy, he got really up high there, lost a lot of ground. That's the 29 of Negus. Negus is always quick, and he likes to be quick early.
Yes, he does, and he got a good run on the bottom right there. You can do that. You can use that apron to your advantage. You see the yellow line down there on the very bottom. He puts those left sides underneath the yellow line, helps turn the car a little bit, and he gets the power down and gets around John Wilson on the inside. So he made it happen. Here you see, looking on board with James Lowe in front of him, you got Joe Segala looking like he's all over the track, making some contact there with Kurt Smith down the back straightaway, and they're still side by side through turns 1 and 2.
Low, the mark was at 11.5. Low racing in 14th right now. He is in the over. Boy, look at this. Smith and Segala cannot get it sorted out. And Smith really has no option. He's got to, oh my goodness, he's got to get this done because they're lined up behind him. They continue to race. Boy, you got to figure this is going to be costly come lap number 85.
Yeah, this is working the tires really, really hard, and Lowe's going to have a chance right here coming at the 81. Segala had to get back out of the gas and get in there behind Kurt Smith, and he doesn't get through turn 1 and 2 very well right here. It gives Lowe a look to the inside in turn 3, and he'll get there. 99 machine to the inside of Segala.
Right behind them, we're going to talk about this driver. This is Todd Cousins. He's racing right now in 15th position. You'll see 22. He's 22 on the program. He's number 1 in our hearts and number 5 on the tower. We're going to get that sorted out for him. It's one of the oddball things of sim racing where sometimes the numbers don't line up. Only room for one double deuce, and that belongs to Bruce Pearson.
And speaking of Bruce Pearson, the double deuce is side by side with Adam Shane a little farther forward. They're battling for that 8th position. Double deuce is on the outside. Adam Shane got to his inside, and they're battling side by side here through turns 3 and 4. Shane with a little bit of an advantage going into 3, but watch the run coming off at turn 4. The double deuce tries to get it. Doesn't really have a lot going on right there, but looks really good entering 1. Loses the momentum off of 2, and Shane's going to try to close the door. Doesn't quite get there, but he's just about clear going down into turn 3.
Indeed, of course, all these guys racing with big picture in mind. Remember Pearson sitting in 2nd in the points. He's stuck on the outside. The man he's trying to run down, Kurt Smith, well, he was stuck on the outside, but finally gets that sorted out. Smith can see Pearson right now. It's the yellow car of Pearson and the white number 6 of Smith.
Yeah, those two close to each other already on the night. There was just a change in position up at the 2nd spot, and that was Mark Herzog. Got around Trey Bloom and took the 2nd position. Those guys get it sorted out in their single file now up front, and you still see these guys battling back here. Scott Negus now to the inside of the double deuce of Bruce Pearson, and Bruce doesn't look super comfortable on the outside lane. We've seen other guys be able to make things work out there, but Bruce not getting the runs that we saw other guys getting earlier.
No, I'm sure if Bruce could have his way, he would let Negus go if John Wilson would just let him tuck down in there, but the 75 is not having any of that, so Pearson is stuck out there doing a good job of racing. Oh, and they get together. And remember, that's Smith back there who entered at 8 points ahead of Pearson right now. So Pearson, if he can get in front of Negus, can cut that lead in half, and then he can hold him off. You know, I want to talk a little bit about Herzog. He doesn't race full time, but when he shows up, he's always quick. And he's beginning to run down Steven's speeds.
Yeah, he's looking really fast right here. Bloom was all over Speeds for a little while. Look at that contact. Those guys side by side with each other. Still Negus and the 22, the double deuce of Bruce Pearson. Those guys are still battling fiercely back here. And this is all inside the top 10.
You know, we'd like to show you around the field, but right now this is really the battle. You got a hunch. You do enough of these. Wilson gets loose right behind Negus. He almost loops it around. Smith has to be careful. Pearson, I don't know how long this has been going on, Ricky. I've got to be 8 laps maybe that Pearson's been stuck out there.
Yeah, we're already 27 laps into this race. The laps click off really fast here at Hickory if we stay green. It's only 3/8 of a mile track, but Pearson's been hanging tough on the outside lane. I have a feeling that Negus just trying to work hard enough and leave plenty of room, and he doesn't really want to burn the tires up, but these guys are stacking up behind him, and this is where the action's going to happen.
They continue to race side by side. I want to talk to you about somebody who's coming. Let's look at the 69. This is Aiden Young. He's looking to the inside of the 39 of Joe Snyder. If Young can get that done, there's room for him to pick up some spots. Let's look right ahead. We have side-by-side racing. That's Trey Bloom. That's the lap car of Chris Hazlip on the inside.
Yeah, and this is going to cause some havoc. This is going to cause some havoc with those leaders as they try to go around them on the outside. I mentioned earlier, Hazlip started from pit lane, so he just wanted to stay out of the action, it looks like, and now he's just trying to get out of the way of the leaders.
How'd that work for you, Lipper? He got right in it. You know, this is a tough place because both lines are so equal. I mean, if you chose the high line, you're going to slow one guy down. If you chose the low guy, you're going to slow another guy down. Let's check back in. Finally, Negus gets the best of Pearson. I'm sure Pearson is happy to surrender that spot, just tuck in front of Wilson. He's got Smith cushioned back there with Wilson as the cushion.
Look at that number 4 machine. That's Edward Foster, newcomer here to Bootleg this season, and he just made a pass on Lowell Jewell, and Lowell now falling back into the clutches of the 87 of Todd Liston. Todd's been trying to work his way forward in this race, and trying to get that 16th position from Lowell.
Started the race with a full field. We got 21 of them still on the lead lap. Evan Foster racing down under. Good day, Mike. He's closing in on...
trouble further up. Kurt Smith is involved. Several cars go around. Our spotlighted driver, the 99 of James Lowe, also involved. It all started with John Wilson going around on the back straightaway off of turn number 2. 3 cars involved as the leaders try to come through right here. And the 75 gets it turned back around. But that started when John Wilson got a little loose off of turn 2. No one had any major contact that I know of, but it did involve our points leader, Kurt Smith.
Boy, you can see Wilson get loose and Smith checks up to not get into him. And by the time it got back to Lowe, they all go around. But it happens on lap 35. Still plenty of time for them to salvage a good result.
Absolutely. I don't think there was anything James Lowe could have done right there. They checked up so fast in front of him, and I doubt he could see what was happening with the Canadian Goose there. And Wilson goes around and collects those 2 behind him. So bad news for the 6 machine, leading the points, and now he's going to be even deeper in the field. There's 21 cars on the lead lap right now, and he's showing in P20.
Let's dial up the original Double Deuce. That is Bruce Pearson. Let's talk to him for a minute. As Bruce, it's Soup up in the booth. I got a couple things to talk to you about. First of all, welcome to the inside line there. That was a long time up top.
Yeah, it was. Scott and I were just chatting about that on the race chat, about both of us were holding our breath a real long time.
It must have gone on for 7 or 8 laps, but you had no option because they were lined up behind him.
Yeah, that's true. I practiced the outside line, but I don't know what it did to my tires, and hopefully it wore his stuff down, trying to keep him down there.
All right, I don't want to jinx you because I know you don't like to think about points during the race, but Kurt Smith was just involved in a big one, so he lost. He's way back there in 19th now. He was on your tail a minute ago. He's got a bit of a cushion, so does that change the way you're going to drive?
Not really, because Kurt's good enough to get right back up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other tough guys in here too, so I just got to keep doing what I'm doing.
That's a great answer. Good luck to you.
All right, coming down the back straightaway, we're coming back to the green flag. It's Steven Spees, a double nickel out front with the 57 of Mark Herzog to his outside. They come down into the restart zone right here, and Spees is on the loud pedal. He gets away real quick, and he's going to be all by his lonesome up there. There's a battle for second. Herzog on the outside, and the 32 of Trey Bloom to the inside, and they're 2 by 2, 4 rows deep.
Just drilling down a little bit on Pearson's. Oh, my goodness. That was Altice. Almost got into it with Snyder, but they get it sorted out. And they do it again. Boy, they do it another time.
3 wide behind him. This is not going to be good. They make contact. Go round goes Scott Negus, and that's going to be a big incident as Negus gets pushed down, and the 99 of James Lowe goes around behind them hard into the inside wall right there. You see them trapped together there in turn 3.
And diving to the North Carolina Alfalfa was Bruce Pearson, who we just talked to about how he was going to race. That incident was a 3/4 of a lap happening, banging and banging and banging, and it finally backed up into those guys behind him. And Pearson does a good job of getting out of the way. Real quick on Pearson, reminded me of a guy who doesn't want to, if you're a football fan, you see the incident there. There goes the yellow 22 underneath. Also the 4 there of the Australian driver going underneath there as well, Foster. If you think about football, when you have a lead and they go talk about going down under. There you go. Thank you, director. About a team in front that goes into a prevent defense, and what it does is prevent you from winning. You heard Pearson just say, I'm going to race the way I race it, and just let it fall out. He's in 8th position. Kurt Smith, though, listen to the wisdom of Pearson was able. Kurt's good enough to get through. Kurt now up to 14th, so he's almost right back where he was.
Yeah, just easily, picked his way through that incident as it happened, did Kurt Smith, and no harm, no foul for him. I believe he did have a little bit of door-to-door contact with the 52 of Steve Hilbert in that incident, but I don't think it did anything to his car. But those guys kind of weave their way through. You see John Wilson, the Canadian Goose, gets back on the lead lap just a minute ago, so we're back to 22 cars on the lead lap, but as I say that, a couple of them fall off the pace in the pits, getting some things done. That's Joseph Snyder and James Lowe, our spotlighted driver. So now back down to 20 cars on the lead lap.
James Lowe having a hard time getting the rust off of it. He's coming back into the series after a long layoff.
Yeah,
gotta
he's
shake it
parked
up
for the evening as well, so I believe he'll be done. His return was cut short. He had speed tonight, just wasn't able to show it.
Indeed. Good racing, though, going on. The late models are putting on a good show.
I believe we just got the 1 to go signal. So coming back to the green flag right here, we're 47 laps into the race as they come back around to the line. So almost to that halfway mark, just going to be 3 laps away from it. And the laps, like I said, you click off quick if you go green. Look at Spies and Herzog glued to each other, coming down to the restart zone, and away goes Steven Spies. Gets another great jump, leaves Herzog in the dust, but Herzog has no battle behind him. It's going to be the 36 there of Jeffrey Harden, and 3 wide, a little bit further back. It's Altiz in the middle. He gets a little bit of contact from the black 22 car as he goes underneath, and Trey Bloom was on the outside. Wisely, the 70 machine backs out of the gas and gets in there behind those guys, and no incident ensues from it. But look at Bruce Pearson. He's almost into the back of the 87 of Todd Liston there, going down into turn number 1 and 2. He gets away without any contact, but these guys are awfully close to each other.
Well, I tell you right now, Todd Liston was able to avoid that one. That was going to be an incident. I want to talk a little bit about a couple Todds. We talked about Liston. How about the Todd Cousins out there racing? And well, you see this, the 22 is number 5 on your tower. Number 1 in our hearts. He's up 16 spots. He's a name we don't know, but 16 spots at this track, this early, that's impressive.
Yeah, also another one to shout out. He's into the top 10. Edward Foster from Down Under. He's up 10 positions into the top 10, and they're racing fierce right in front of him. It's Ruben Altiz there on the bottom of Trey Bloom, right in front of that double deuce car right in front. So you see those guys still racing, and the 32 of Trey Bloom just got into the outside wall. They're going around the lap car right here. It's going to get really tight as the 39 is way off the pace up at the top of the track there. But Bruce Pearson to the inside of the 32 of Trey Bloom. He's going to try to get this pass complete, and Edward Foster's next in line to take over that 32.
So Pearson doing a good job of moving up now as he moves into 8th position. And I can't... Go ahead.
The top 5 or 6, they're all just single file up here, have good gaps between each one of them. And now Ruben Altiz and Bruce Pearson kind of got their way out of the mess, and they also are single file. So the first battle for position is Edward Foster getting around the 32 of Trey Bloom. Trey is just not looking good right now. He's headed backwards now. Here comes that point leader. We talked about him earlier. He's working his way back through the field. Kurt Smith up into the top 10 as he works his way past Trey.
So what was it? 10, 15 laps ago, we talked about Pearson, and I told him that Smith was buried well in the back. He said, oh, no, he's fast enough to get there. Well, before the spin, there was a cushion of 1 car between them, and right now there's a cushion of 1 car between them. Smith is good.
Oh, yeah, and Smith is already putting pressure on that 4 machine in front of him. He's all hot on the heels of Edward Foster, looking to make something happen. He wants to get up to Bruce Pearson. He doesn't want to ride behind him. He wants to make it happen right here. And I believe he's not going to waste a lot of time. 58 laps complete as they cross the line. Just over 40 laps to go. Those are going to click off fast here. You got to make hay, and you got to do it quick.
See that battle sorting out, and they get down low. That's our new driver there, number 60.
Oh, around goes Foster, and Kurt Smith is involved in it. He got in the back. Foster flipping down the front straightaway. It took a barrel roll and then got back on the wheels. He's able to drive away from it, but Kurt Smith took on big damage in this incident. And this all started when Kurt Smith got into the back of Foster, goes up into the outside wall hard. He's going to have suspension damage and have a lot of trouble.
The beach catfish there as Joe Segala flipped Foster over.
He just kind of scooped him up.
Not sure if they have catfish in Australia. Boy, well, Smith is like there's a Sisyphus who pushes the boulder up. He's got to do it again. This never-ending job for Kurt Smith.
It looks like Foster's car is able to continue even after taking a barrel roll, and so is the 6 machine of Kurt Smith. Both of those guys able to continue without having to come to the pits for required repairs. I do have a feeling that Smith's car is not going to handle like it did before that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Foster. I'm looking at Foster's car too. It actually looks kind of reminds me of when the old NASCARs used to like crab their way down the track. It looks bent to me, but I don't know. You may want to, before you buy that one, you may want to check Blue Book on it, make sure it hasn't been in any
that one might be a salvage type.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and dial up Mark Herzog if we have time. I don't want to bother him here, but I think are the lights still on? Yeah, they are. Mark and Soup up in the booth. You've been all over Spees. Do you have anything for him?
I don't know. If I can get two good corners in a row, I might be able to get either next to him or something. But yeah, he's making it really wide on the start. I mean, he's pushing me up almost against the wall. So I guess he's running the inside line on the start. But
well, I saw you make a move on him. You got close and you lost a lot of momentum.
Yeah, I got a pretty good run going in on one corner, and he I guess he closed the door, as they say.
All right, they're doubling up. Good luck to you.
Down the back straightaway they go. Steven Spees on the inside, Herzog on the outside. You heard him say he guesses he's going to take the inside right there. Spees is going to try to drive him way up the track here in turn 3 and 4 as they come back into the restart zone. And onto the loud pedal goes Steven Spees. Great restart yet again. And now Herzog's going to have some pressure from Jeffrey Harden in the 36 machine. They're side by side down through turns 1 and 2. But Herzog with a big run down the back straightaway is going to clear Jeffrey Harden into the second position.
Trophy hunters in positions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's not till you get back to Todd Listener do you have a guy who has a legitimate, in shouting range of the points lead right now. Keep an eye on the 69 of Aiden Young. He's been away for a while.
I want to turn your attention to Kurt Smith. Look at him. He's battling with Bruce Pearson side by side.
Ah!
And with all that damage on the left front and the right front from that incident, it's handling well enough that he's able to make a move on Pearson.
It's handling great. It's really turning him through the corners. Foster coming up through but the 6 gets really loose. Oh, yeah. I see.
It's not driving well.
Yeah. It's driving differently.
He's going to have to get used to that a little bit. It's one of those things where the toe is off just a little bit. And when the toe gets off, man, it can be a kind of a bear to drive. Sometimes it'll help you in certain areas and it'll hurt you in others.
Taking my breath away right now. Bruce Pearson and Kurt Smith won 2 of the points right there. Watching it is the series organizer in the popcorn position, Lowell Jewell, back there, started at 17th, up 7 spots.
Yeah, just a few positions in front of them. They started to stack up a little bit. I thought something might go down there. Aiden Young got right to the back of Jeffrey Harden, and behind Aiden Young is Todd Cousins. We talked about him in that black 22 car. He was right on the back of Aiden Young, and all these guys really under a blanket. They're looking to make something happen. We are coming to the 3/4 mark of the race, so laps click off quickly if they stay green, and we've talked about that over and over again. Bruce Pearson, though, cannot stop the bleeding here. The 6 machine gets around him, and he brings Lowell Jewell with him, and here comes Trey Bloom. We saw Trey fall back quite a bit there on the last run, but now he's on the inside and trying to get some of those spots back.
Haven't talked much about Adam Shane, but he's back there right behind the gate. Behind him.
Yeah, the number 60 machine gets turned around. That's Tim Corder. Oh, man, another car rolls over. It's going to be Joe Sagala.
The kingpin.
And he's going to have to tow back to the pits from that. But that started with the 4 of Edward Foster. His car was driving okay after that incident earlier. You see him try to get to the inside of the 60 right here. Doesn't quite do it. Gets into the left rear corner of him, and around goes that 60 machine of Tim Corder. And a couple other cars get stacked up there, and over goes Sagala.
That was a rough one. Sagala almost kept it there. Looked like a bowling pin wobbling and wobbling until it just went down. Well, that's going to change. I think. We never get to talk to Kurt Smith. It'd be interesting to talk to him, but usually he likes to concentrate on his race, so we won't dial him up. Ricky, who would you like me to talk to? Who looks good out there?
Well, Jeffrey Harden, Aiden Young, both those 2 guys have been making
Let's try the new guy.
Yeah.
Let's try Todd Cousins.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's figured out how to work his microphone here. Todd Cousins, it's Soup up in the booth. Are you able to talk to us? Yeah, I didn't expect he would. As a new guy, he doesn't quite have the buttons figured out on his thing. We'll come back and check in on him. Hopefully he'll be back with us next race. How about Aiden Young? He's a veteran. He'll give a quick interview with us here. Let's check the peace guard and see if the lights go off. Aiden, it's Soup up here in the booth. How you doing? Can you make the outside work?
I'm not really sure right now.
You started at 6th. You picked up a couple spots. What about the new paint scheme? We like it.
Just a thing I thought about, and it might be the real car.
Fire engine red, baby. Although, what's the color of the fire engines where you work?
Most of them are red, but we do have some yellow ones.
All right. Good luck to you.
Thanks.
He has no pole. He does have a red fire truck. And I'm not sure if he wears suspenders. Yeah. Go ahead, Rick.
I don't know what these leaders are doing right here. Herzog was behind Spees.
Yeah.
It was like he was trying to send him a message there through turns 1 and 2. But they double up now. They come back to the restart zone. Steven Spees is going to have control, and him and Herzog are going to be right on top of each other right here going down into the restart zone. And there goes Spees on the loud pedal. He gets away. Herzog's going to be under pressure from Jeffrey Harden. Jeffrey got a really good launch out of turn 4 right there as Joe Segala comes out of pit road right there. Gets really close to those guys. Oh, my goodness. That was almost an incident. The battle is for second. It's Jeffrey Harden to the bottom, Herzog to the top. Herzog pinches him down through 3 and 4, and he gets a great run down the front straightaway.
Oh, they turned Joe Segala loose right in front of the Stampede, but he was able to keep it down there. Look at the battle for second now. Herzog, boy, talk about, he was talking about Spees running him up the track. Herzog is pinning Harden to the inside.
Yeah, he really is, and Harden enters real wide right there as they go around the lap traffic of 52 of Steve Hilbert right there, and they are still, oh man, banging into each other through turns 3 and 4. Up the track goes Herzog. He gets contact from Aiden Young, and around goes the 22 machine as well. Oh, this is going to be a huge stack up as the rest of the field comes into it. Oh, parking lot on the front straightaway.
Bruce Pearson wrestles his way through. I'm looking for Smith. Got it again. Oh, and a little bit more. Let's stay on Kurt Smith because it just doesn't end.
Oh my goodness. When we watch this replay, we have to go watch On Board with the Double Deuce of Bruce Pearson. This is unbelievable the way that he makes it through this incident. And you see him scoot through there at the end after kind of pushing Kurt Smith out of his way. Remember, these two battling for the championship right here. And what happens is the Double Deuce of Bruce Pearson, he got a little bit of contact from behind while he was trying to work his way through this incident, and it kind of shoves him into Kurt Smith. There's Kurt right in front of him from the onboard of Bruce Pearson, and Bruce tries to check up for the incident, and he's going to get a little contact from behind. You see him lunge forward when he gets that contact right into Kurt Smith. It turns Kurt Smith around, and then Kurt just can't stop getting hit, and Bruce Pearson gets right through it.
Amazing. The racing gods are fickle indeed. Now, what's interesting about that, I usually have a hard time for the guy who makes it 3 wide. That was Aiden Young who made that thing 3 wide, but he had no choice. The cars in front of him were so slow. His only option was try to shoot the gap there, and the number 69 just couldn't do it. My goodness, what an event we have right now. All this going on behind Steven Spees and Jeffrey Harden, who are kind of so far out in front, they have no clue about the excitement going on behind them.
Well, you got to feel that started with Jeffrey Harden, and you got to feel bad with for Herzog. You know, they kind of got glued to each other going into turn 3 right there, and Herzog was on the losing end, getting onto the outside of 3 wide. 3 wide, we have not seen work at all tonight at any point. So every time we see 3 wide, we get a little nervous as we expect a wreck that's coming. So this race started out clean and green for a very long time after that one short caution, but we had like 60 green flag laps, and here we are on almost lap 90, coming to 10 to go on this restart, and we've seen nothing but wrecks for about the last 20 laps.
Okay, I hate to keep painting the same picture, but the canvas keeps changing. Let's talk about Pearson and Smith again. Smith had worked it all the way back, got in front of Pearson, and now here's the Double Deuce Bruce sitting in 3rd, and Kurt Smith for the 3rd time. He's in pit lane. His race is done. He's in 17th.
Yeah, it is not looking good. He's going to definitely try to get back out and get in that top 15. We come into the restart zone. New front row. We got Spees on the inside and Jeffrey Harden on the outside. Spees once again gets away. Bruce Pearson did not get a good jump on that restart. He got a little contact from the 70 behind him. And here comes Lowell Jewell up into the third position on the outside of the double deuce of Bruce Pearson. And oh man, it's going to be tight in 3 and 4. Bruce Pearson gets away in the fourth spot. They're side by side for fifth. The 79 of Adam Shane is on the top. The 70 of Ruben Altiz is on the inside, side by side through turns 1 and 2.
10 laps to go, and Pearson is just going to try to salvage whatever he can right now. He has fast cars behind him. There's Adam Shane doing what he does. He's working side by side with Ruben Altiz. Two guys who love to work their way through the field. If you're not a Ruben Altiz fan, he picked up his first career win just a few weeks ago. Look for him on VGN Weekly coming up. He's going to be the guest.
That's right. Right behind them, that black 22. He's number 5 on the pylon. We talked about him earlier. Todd Cousins. He has made up a ton of ground, and he's going to try to push 3 wide on the inside of Ruben Altiz. We haven't seen it work tonight. Is it going to work this time? Maybe. The 79 squirts through there, and they're side by side behind him. That was unbelievable. The first time we've seen 3 wide work.
Oh, my goodness. Cousins doesn't know the rules here. He does make it work, and now Altiz has him pinned down. And this is Todd Liston. A couple Todds going at it. Todd still in the championship up. Boy, look at the racing going on between Altiz and Cousins. And now, Cousins is all over the track, and now Altiz is loose. Now Altiz gets bumped. He gets to the back of Liston. Somehow, we stay green.
Yeah, Herzog was working his way back through there, and he just kind of got nerfed off the back bumper of Altiz. Lost a bunch of ground right there, and we're coming back to only 4 laps to go right here, so not a lot of time to make anything happen if you're back there, but it's all Steven Spees out front. He's led wire to wire, and it doesn't look like he's going to be challenged again. Jeffrey Harden is about 3 car lengths behind him, running in second. The battle is for third, but you got to believe that with Lowell Jewell running third and Bruce Pearson running fourth, Bruce has to understand that the championship picture looks pretty good and might not want to challenge too hard for that position as we come back to 2 to go.
I think the double deuce is happy behind the single deuce right now in 4th position. All this going on behind Steven Spees, who has had it his own way. He works underneath the lap car there, number 4, the Aussie driver, Edward Foster. And they come around.
That's going to give Jeffrey Harden a look as they come back to the white flag. Jeffrey Harden right to the back of Steven Spees as Spees caught the lap traffic at an inopportune time. And they're also going to catch John Wilson down here in the final corner. Spees out front. Lunge is Jeffrey Harden going down into turn number 3, but he's not going to be able to make it happen. Steven Spees goes wire to wire at Hickory.
Nice call. Lowell Jewell gets 3rd. Pearson will get 4th. Kurt Smith, was he able to get up into the 15th spot? No, he'll have to settle for 18th. Oh my goodness, another name to look at is Todd Liston. He comes home in 7th. Very, very interesting. We're going to give you an update on the scoring before we go off the air tonight. The racing is over. Our broadcast is not. We'll take a short break, come back, run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Don't go far. You're watching the Lurch Grip Network. We're at Hickory Motor Speedway, and you're watching it. Welcome back to VGN's penultimate round coverage of the 37th edition of the Bootleg Racing League's Outlaw SK Modified Invitational Series. For a race that went wire to wire, there was no shortage of action. Let's go ahead and run down the finishing order for you. We started the night with 23 drivers. 13 of them were able to finish on the lead lap. The fastest of all of them was the double nickel Steven Spieth. Spoiler alert, he goes back-to-back as he predicted he would after the SK Modified interview. Jeffrey Harden, he'll finish in second position. A great run from the boss man. Very quiet. Lowell Jewell, 17th to 3rd, kept his nose clean and got himself a podium spot. Very, very important finish for Bruce Pearson. Double Deuce Bruce in 4th spot. And when you take that, his main competitor in the championship, Kurt Smith, finished well down in 18th. I think that maybe we might have ourselves yet another point leader before we go into next round. Adam Shane will come home in 5th. Newcomer Todd Cousins, very quick in 6th position. Another Todd, that's Liston version, goes in 7th. Mark Herzog had a chance for the win, got together with Harden a little bit, and that threw him back into 8th spot. Ruben Altisse, the quiet man, in 9th, with the Cape Man Trey Bloom in 10th. Ricky?
Aiden Young, he was up front all night long and got kind of pushed back late, finishes 11th. Scott Negus finishes 12th after some early action. How about Tom Hilbert all the way up into 13th? He started deep into the field, made up 7 spots to finish there. Edward Foster from down under, he made his name known tonight. He worked his way forward throughout the night and showed a lot of speed, but got caught up in a couple of incidents late. He's going to finish back into the 17th position. I think I skipped some people, sorry. Tim Corder finished 14th. John Wilson will be our pole sitter next week, finishing 15th. Then Steve Hilbert, then Edward Foster. I went from one Hilbert to the other. How did I do that? Kurt Smith, he was the point leader coming in all the way back into 18th position after that late incident. That's going to hurt him in the point standings. He will no longer be the point leader. John Hine, he rolled around several laps down early on, finishes 19th. Joseph Snyder, same story for him, finishes in 20th.
You know, that's why they shouldn't let Australian drivers race, because they're very confusing. Even when you're doing the points, they race on a totally different day than we do. He's racing Sunday afternoon. No wonder we can't figure out where he finished. Kurt Smith, we got that one. Where did I start? I'm starting at the blackjack position. Joe Segala, the rounding these guys out. Chris Hazlip, and then James Lowe. You know, we had him as our spotlighted driver. He only put in 43 laps before he called it a night. Ricky hits the over on that one. With that said, we're going to go to interviews. And, well, deja vu all over again with Steven Spieth. Don't want to give it away for the people who haven't seen the late model event, but you thought maybe 2 in a row? You did 2 in a row.
Yeah, I wasn't calling my shot or anything, but I knew that I'd finished 15th last week, and so I thought I'd have a pretty good shot at it tonight, knowing that I was starting on the pole in this one.
Hard to pass here. You didn't. You're out in front of it. Maybe did you see a little bit of the Harden, Herzog excitement behind you, or were you just looking ahead?
I was looking ahead. I did notice after one of those last cautions, the cars up around me, a bunch of the names changed, so I figured something happened. But yeah, my hope the whole time was that guys in 2nd, 3rd, 4th would all be racing each other, because you know, you lose so much time whenever you're side by side on this track, and thought maybe I could get a gap, but for the majority of the night that didn't happen. So it was quite a balance. I wasn't sure if we needed to save tire or not, so I was trying not to run all out there the first half of the race and just do enough to kind of stay and keep a small gap and save a little bit of tire just in case we needed it. But I think maybe with the cautions I'd have been all right regardless.
Okay, let's play a game. 2 races, going to put you starting at the back of the pack for both against equal AI drivers. In one race, you're in the SK Modified, and the other one, you're in the late model. Which one do you do better in?
I don't know which one I do better in, but I would choose the late model. I don't really care for that SK, if I'm being completely honest. You have to drive these late models a lot more. You know, they'll get a little loose on you off the corner if you're not careful. You got to save tire a little more. So I find them a lot more enjoyable to drive. So regardless of which one I might be faster in, I'd take the late model stock.
That's a great answer. What about the new sponsor we see?
Oh, that's just my own little wannabe race team. It's kind of an inside joke between me and the family as much as anything. But my team, when we're not doing something important under Gambler Motorsports and some of our road racing, and I don't want to give a bad name to Gambler, we throw the Vigorous Racing logo on it.
We get it. It's making us laugh up here in the booth. Congratulations on the win.
Much appreciated, Sue.
Well done, Steven Spies. You're winner again. All right, Ricky, who you got?
Well, how about my brother from another mother? It's Jeffrey Harden, and the 36 machine comes home in P2. Jeffrey, you started third. We saw you fall back and kind of let the top three go early on and just kind of bide your time, but worked your way back up to second.
Yeah, I was just trying to save. I didn't want to be up front late and get a late caution. Just, get everybody blow my doors off.
Now, we saw late in the race that you got to racing side by side with the 57 of Herzog, and there was a little bit of contact going into 3 and 4. Tell us about that race with him.
Yeah, it's like when we went to turn in the corner, it's like both the cars hooked together. I don't know if we touched or if it was netco, but I was trying to turn away and he was trying to turn, and neither one of us could really turn.
Yeah, that's kind of the way we saw it, too. It looked like a lot of hard racing between you two, but you're able to come on P2. When you saw the lap traffic there on the last restart, did you think you had a shot at Spies?
I don't know. It was really my only chance was for him to make a mistake at that point. I think everybody was pretty, on hot tires, and it was really hard to get by. You try to cut under somebody, you get a little loose. Trying to go up high, push a little hard. So, it was really hard to make a pass.
Speaking of going high, tell us about the lanes on the restarts. It looked like a lot of guys were able to make some hay on the top lane. You may have restarted on the bottom more than the top in this race, but how did you feel on those restarts? Did you think that it was preferred to be kind of up top and getting big runs out of the corner, or did you like the bottom?
Well, I liked the top side on the restart if you could get down after a couple laps, because, after that, you really wanted to get down because the tires seemed to heat up a lot faster up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we saw as well, but a great night for you. You have 3 wins on the season, almost made it 4. You got one more chance at it next week. How do you feel about that?
I feel good. I got nothing to race for. I'm just let it all hang out.
There you go. Jeffrey Harden, P2, going to let it all hang out next week and try to get a 4th win.
All right, with that, I get to talk to the series organizer driving the number 2, Lowell Jewell. Lowell, you have a copy?
I do, sir.
All right. I like to pride myself when I'm commentating these that I talk I can get a driver and let the fans watch him work his way through the field. You're racing most of the race like 8th or 9th position. Have you had a chance to replay the crash that got you up into 4th and then you were able to get around Pearson? There were a handful of cars in front of you, a handful of cars behind you that got caught up in it, and somehow the boss man makes it through.
Yeah. I don't know. I blinked for a second and it was all over, and then I could see the pace car. Me and Bruce both thought that was really weird, seeing the back end of the pace car up there.
Yeah, you went to the outside, you followed Ruben Altice through, and it was a nice clean out. Then Ruben had some trouble. Then you're in a little battle. All right, now you're in a battle with Pearson, who was kind of off the pace, I think, a little bit. You did a nice job of getting around what I believe will be the points leader here when we leave the broadcast tonight.
Yeah, I really was I started so far back that I really was just here for the seat time to turn some laps and always, take care of my tires that way and see what happens where I was at in the last third. And all of a sudden I'm in 4th, and I had just enough right front tire left to keep Bruce behind me. He made it very difficult. And I noticed the top 4, we all ran our fastest lap on lap 91, so we were all wanting to get speeds up there.
There you go. All right, I'm going to ask you to take off your racing helmet for a minute and put on your series organizer fedora and talk to me a little bit about, we got some new guys coming in. How does that work? These are guys who've raced in the feeder series, or you know them a little bit, so we get some new blood in here?
Yeah, they've raced most of this season in the street stocks, and I'm not going to be able to tell you all 4 of them's name at the moment, but they all got the invitation for next season. But of course, I always allow them to race the last couple of races here.
And even though he didn't have a great night tonight, it was good to see James Lowe back in the hunt.
Yep, James Lowe's back. I think Chris Davis will be back next week.
Oh, Mr. Excitement. That's one reason to turn in for the season finale.
I thought you'd enjoy that.
All right. Well, Joel, Lowell, thanks a lot. Congratulations on the third place finish and for what you do here. And then we got a lot of new stuff starting in 2025. It'll be an exciting year on VGN. Thanks so much for what you do.
Yeah, it's going to be busy. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye. Lowell Jewell. It is going to be busy. It certainly will be. Well, we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. When are we going to be back? Well, we're going to wrap up not only the season, but our year of broadcasting as well. Next week, when we go to Five Flag Speedway, we got those 2 broadcasts to show you there. The early one, the SK Modified, then the later one there for the late models. And then in 2025, so many things. You can see a couple of them right there below the line will be starting up. So much action happened on VGN. And, of course, you don't want to miss This Week in VGN or VGN Weekly or Wakey Wakey VGN. I can't remember the name of the show, but it's going to be very good. It's going to be with Ruben Altice. Ruben Altice picked up his first career late model win this season. It's going to be fun. You don't want to miss that. They're going to tape it tomorrow, pull back the curtain. It'll be available for broadcast or for viewing on Tuesday. With that said, we hope you had a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week. Here's your, until next time, have fun storming the castle. Here's your fedora. And, well, I'm waiting for the song to end, but good night.